because if I was in a position of power or authority, I would have you all arrested and tried for treason against my country under the grounds of 18 U.S.C. 2381 treason U.S. Code. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason.
$7.50. To hear the charges for this call, press 2. To accept this call, press 5. To refuse this call, hang up now. To block this call and all future calls, press 9. This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Oh, you know, another day at the hellhole.
Yeah, right. Hey, you want to hear what I just read?
What's that?
Okay, it says, do people really understand how huge this is? This is about an article. It says, Bundy Ranch prosecutors face more allegations in cover-up of BLM special agent in charge Dan Love. It says, this is cause for multiple felony charges against Dan Love. How will this impact and change the trials in Nevada if information can be presented that the head BLM agent in charge at the Bundy Ranch is not only being investigated internally for ethics violations, but also now faces huge felony charges? These documents that show proof of this have been sealed for a reason. Dan Love, claiming mental issues, quote, was definitely orchestrated. The only people who admit and claim mental instability are people who are protecting themselves from prison time. It is time to push for these documents to be unsealed and released publicly so that Dan Love can be appropriately investigated for possible felony charges, and the only way these can be unsealed is for a huge push in exposing them. And then it says, if you are an American who wants to know the truth, go to oig.state.gov hotline-form. And it says, and file an OIG complaint asking for these documents to be unsealed and for this to be properly investigated. We need as many Americans to do this as possible so we can push for a proper investigation. The form is simple and easy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Did we get that little message out?
Yeah, it did go out, and people are happy, I think.
Well, I mean, I basically told the government, look, if you want me to continue, you're going to have to release me.
Yeah.
If you're not going to release me, then go ahead and just sentence me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to. I talked to my mom. My mom was a police officer for 30 years. And she goes, they lie. They're probably just using you. Did you get anything in writing yet? And I said, they made me no promises. She goes, you know, now that you're a credible witness, you may want to use it as leverage. She goes, why not? What do you got to lose, you know? If they made you no promises, then why should you continue to help
Really?
them if it doesn't benefit you at all?
No.
And I was like, you know, that's a good point.
Right.
And then I got my attorneys who don't communicate with me at all. Krista Shipsy, she does a good job at communicating most of the time. But there's sometimes, like just recently, you know, I had to find out from the Oregonian, the headliner in Oregonian, to find out what was going on, if I was going to get transferred or not.
Yeah, right.
My attorneys never called me to let me know what was going on.
Yeah, no, they're not worth anything. They're just losers.
And I'm like, okay, don't you think that would be important information for me? If I'm going to get transferred, I need to know, because if I put in a $55 commissary order and they transfer me, I'm out $55.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I would like to take it to another facility with me so I can buy food and things like that. And so I feel they're just playing games with me. And then, you know, I was like, I'm not gonna continue to go along with this if it certainly has been benefit me. After I saw my kids through glass the other day, I was like, you know what? There's a lot of families that are going to be affected by this, and I just said, I'm not gonna do anything further unless something's in writing.
Right. So Skylar went to the judge yesterday for, I don't know what you call it, a hearing or something. And the judge pretty much threw out everything he had to say. It wasn't good.
Well,
The Constitution is not allowed in that courtroom either. So that's Washington State, Nevada State, and Oregon State, where the judges have all said no Constitution allowed.
wow. Well, I guess it's just toilet paper now.
Yeah, it's bad.
That sucks. Well, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah. It's crazy, you know, they swear an oath.
Well, me and my mom were talking about this too, of how these judges have a lot of power, and there's no mechanism in place to hold them accountable.
Right.
And so this is where you really got to start going into the community and getting people together and be like, hey, we need to prosecute this judge.
Yeah.
And there are means to prosecute them and to remove them from the bench. I've seen it happen.
I know.
They did it to one. There's a video out there called "Children for Profit," where they were profiting.
Yeah, I saw that.
Off. Yeah, and so that one judge did 27 years.
It's
well,
called
these federal judges are
Kids
not
for
beyond
Cash.
reproach. People need to start confronting them on camera and saying, "How come you're ignoring the Constitution in your courtroom? You swore an oath to it," and start making a public example of them, and then let the community see what kind of horrible people they really are.
Yeah, that's on Netflix. It's called Cash for Kids. And there's also, you know, Kent Hovind. He did a procedure to impeach his judge too, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we need to start. It's not going to change unless we start sticking it to them back. And we're going to need we're going to need political support, prosecutor support, and we're going to have the community support. And we're going to have to go out there and start planting seeds and getting people together.
Yeah, well, there's a huge push right now for jury nullification, and it's catching fire.
Nice.
Yeah. Everybody's learning what that means and how much power they have in the jury box.
Right. I was reading in one of these statements how in this last trial that the jury marked not guilty and then crossed it out and marked guilty on 2 of them.
That's right.
Which is just weird. So were they confused on what guilty and not guilty means?
Well, I think they had a not guilty. I think. Okay, I'm not sure because it wasn't there. But I think they had not guilty, and they took it to the judge, and she sent them back to change it.
So wait a minute. They had a verdict, and it wasn't good enough for the judge?
Well, it was hung still. But it did have, I think there is paperwork that shows that it was crossed off and then checked on the other box. I think there is evidence of it. I'm not sure.
Well, no, what I'm saying is if they came out of the jury with a not guilty verdict, and the judge sent them back in until they had it, that doesn't sound like it was hung until she did that.
Yeah, I don't know the details. I really
That's
can't
weird.
say for sure. But have you heard of the Alford plea?
The who?
Alford, A-L-F-E-R-D, I think, Alfred. That's the plea that Fisher of Men took when he made that video that got him thrown in for, I think the sentence was 48 months. He didn't... He pleaded Alfred, which is very, very unusual. It means I'm guilty. It's like a guilty plea, no contest. But I'm innocent. But you should look it up. Hold on, I can Google it. Alfred plea. But that's what he used, and it's like I'm innocent, but I know. It's I'm innocent, but no contest. Something like that.
Huh. I think I have heard of that now, but I don't know what it means.
Alfred plea. There. Okay, also known as a Kennedy plea, is a guilty plea in criminal court whereby a defendant in a criminal case does not admit to the criminal act and asserts innocence.
What's that now?
It says, It's a guilty plea whereby a defendant in a criminal case does not admit to the criminal act and asserts his innocence. It's a guilty, innocent but no contest sort of thing.
Gotcha.
But Wikipedia says guilty plea in criminal court whereby a defendant in a criminal case does not admit to the criminal act and asserts innocence.
I don't know. So you're innocent, but you're guilty? That's weird.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. It's like I did it, but there shouldn't be a law against it, I guess.
Well, there should be a law against a lot of the stuff that we do, but
yeah,
there is. And what do you do, you know?
It's not. It says it in the lawyers.com. It says an Alford plea. Oh, it's ALFORD. Isn't the same as a guilty plea. It's a guilty plea. Better stated, it's a kind of guilty plea, one that shares similarities with the no contest plea. To be more precise, an Alford plea is a guilty plea by, hold on, I gotta click here. Oh, it's a slow website, I guess, lawyers.com. No, it's not coming up. Here's another one. Alford plea and legal definition. Criminal defendant does not admit the act, but admits that the prosecution could likely prove the charge. The court will pronounce the defendant guilty. An Alford plea allows the defendant to plead. Whoops. Oh shoot, where'd it go?
Yeah, I can't do an Alford plea because I'm already in a different plea.
Yeah.
And I can't pull it because we know they're not going to allow anybody to pull their plea, so I'm kind of just stuck.
Yeah.
And I have to just accept whatever's coming to me at this point.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, that's interesting. I don't even know where he got the idea to do that, but.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's legalese. I don't follow legalese very well.
Right. Huh. Well, I still haven't heard from my attorneys yet, so. And I called yesterday, and his assistants answered and said, oh, he's in a trial. I'm like, he certainly is in trial a lot. It's nice to know he has time for everyone else but me.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's that busy that he can't work on my case, maybe he should step down and get somebody who can work on my case with me. And so that's why I said in the statement I wish Krista was down here, because Krista would get things done. And she would at least communicate with me. She'd call me, hey, how are things going? This is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. I mean, she's been very good at keeping me up to date. Matthew's he shows up one day, he's just lazy.
Yeah. How much are these public defenders getting paid? I heard there were like $1,000 a day sitting there in the
actually,
trial.
not as much as you would think. I had this conversation with Krista because I asked her. I said, if I retain you personally, how much would that cost for a case like this? And she says it's $2 million. And I was like, holy shit! Excuse my language. Holy cow! But I was like, that's a lot of money. And I said, so she goes, I'm a private attorney, and they got an app. When these high profile cases come up, she says we accept them, and the government reimbursed us. So she goes, I'm actually not making any money. Well, she goes, I'm making money, but not as much as I would if somebody privately attained me. And so she goes, I think these cases are interesting. They help build up her experience as an attorney, I guess, you know. And she's been doing it for a very long time. I think Krista's a very good attorney. But you know, I just feel that she didn't have I think she was a little scared to go to trial with this with me in Oregon. And I said, I told her the Bundys were going to get acquitted. I don't think she believed me. And so when they got acquitted, she was like, I told you. I said, you know, were, I believe that we were protected under God, but me, they had so much other things that they were going to charge me with. So if I would have won in Oregon, they were going to charge me with the Sugar Pine Mine operation, and they would have kept me in jail until. Isn't that sick?
You know, I told you they added the Sugar Pine Mountain in some of the paperwork.
What's that now? Sorry.
They added something to do with the Sugar Pine Mountain and the conspiracy in the paperwork.
Yeah. But see, they're going to have to use me for the testimony of that. And I mean, I'm not going to testify unless they put something in writing for me. I want to go home to my family. And I believe since I scratched their back, then they should scratch mine, don't you think? And so, but then I was kind of thinking, because here's what's funny. So my plea deal in Oregon, right, was for 6 months, time served, and that was it. Wow. The last time I talked to Krista, she said something about 12 months, which I've already did the time anyway, but it seemed that it increased, doubled. And I had to pay like $6 million, which is going to be split up between all the defendants that pled guilty. And I said, well, how does that work? I don't have $6 million. And I don't think it's going to be that high. I think that it was highly inflated, and it's going to go down a lot lower. But here's the thing about the fine, right? So say I get out of jail or whatever. If that, you don't get off a supervised probation until that money's paid. So if it takes me 20 years, if I get a parking ticket or get pulled over and get a speeding ticket, say I'm just going 1 mile over the speed limit, that's breaking the law. And it says you have to obey all laws while you're on supervised probation. They can put you in prison up to 3 years when they violate you. And they can continue to do that over and over again, indefinitely.
Wow.
And that's where I have a problem with the fine. And I said, okay, well, I cooperated, I testified, I did all this stuff, and I haven't benefited from it at all, it seems. And now you're telling me my plea deal has changed, and now I got to pay $6 million or whatever. I think she said it's going to be more like $300,000. So me, Jason, Patrick, Dwayne, and everybody have to pay like $50,000 a piece.
Right.
And they said it's for the mess that was at the refuge. And I went, well, how was that? There was no mess. As a matter of fact, we cleaned that place up. It was terrible when we got there. I said, do you remember my video I posted where the mice and the rats and everything else had died and pooped all over the body? Did you see that video?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't buy that. I think the FBI made a mess, and they probably did that on purpose for this very reason.
Yep.
So I think it was engineered by the FBI, but so I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it appears like I'm like, I just did all this. I feel like I'm being used. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to be a patsy. And if they find my information is that helpful, then they should let me out, as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know. I don't know how this works. But when my mom told me, hey, they lie, you need to get something in writing, I went, yes, ma'am. My mom was a Phoenix police officer for 30 years. She's a government employee. She knows how they work.
Yeah.
And she said, hey, they lie. They'll use you. She goes, I wouldn't do anything more unless you get it in writing. And I said, okay. So, and the prosecutor that I talked to here, he was a Marine, believe it or not. The Steve Meyer.
Really?
And, I told him, I said, thank you for your service, by the way. I said, my brother's over in MCRD right now here at Scott Cooper. I said, he's squad leader, and he graduates next month. And he goes, San Diego? I said, yes, sir. And I said, I tried to go in. They wouldn't let me because of my record. And I said, so I got involved in this movement. I thought, I swore an oath to protect the Constitution and defend it from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I guess I just took my oath a little more seriously than everyone else in this country.
Yeah.
Did. And I told him, I said, I want to go home to my kids. I said, but I don't know how all this works. See, because the way
1 minute remaining.
Well, we don't got enough time to talk about it. When you enter a cooperation plea, it goes to a committee when you're all done with it, and they say, okay, your information was substantial. And then they take points off your sentencing guidelines. So I'm at 26, which is like 87 months or something right now. That's what the PSR reports. So it's almost 10 years. But so say they give me 12 points off, then I'm doing like 2 years, which would be almost time served.
Yeah.
So, but that depends on how substantial your information was. So I'm sitting there going like, you just almost wish you had something in writing, because you're like, I feel like I'm just getting, you guys are just screwing me. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm getting a bad deal from a used car salesman.
Yeah. I'd suspect anything they put in writing as well.
And, what's that?
I would suspect anything they put in writing as well.
Yeah, I agree. So my mom is like, she thinks this whole thing.
Bye, Blaine. God bless you, brother.